Have you ever felt that there's no meaning to your life, or that there's no hope in the world for anything bigger than yourself? Though many have had these same thoughts, not many dive deep into why they are having these said feelings. It's easy to believe that this is an individualized experience, but the data is showing that as time goes on, more and more people are feeling this way. In 2021, the most recent mass study, over 21 million adults have been diagnosed with depression and in turn are having these hopeless and desperate thoughts. Now, I would never claim to know why every American is depressed, but through research and insight, I feel I've come to a theory that can explain why many people are on the downswing emotionally compared to civilization in the past. What I've come up with isn't all that new of an idea, but I don't think it's been fleshed out enough for me to garner a true digestible idea. That's what I plan to do today. Please like and subscribe if you feel you've learned anything, something riveting, or were entertained in any way. Let's get into it. The biggest catalyst for Americans feeling this way is social media, which I'm sure you've also come to the same assumption. What many don't know, however, is the exact social, physical, and emotional reasons these occur. The triggers that hit your brain cause changes to your brain that you would see with a drug addict or someone with extreme compulsion disorder. The way this happens is through extensive dopamine release with no control or regulation. Let me ask you a question. Did you take a social media class in middle school learning the harm reduction of social media and how to consume it in a healthy way? No. So, if social media can affect you the same way sex and drugs can, though maybe not the same levels of bad effects in extreme cases, why aren't we educating our youth about the side effects? Now, I think the reason we don't necessarily care or have big worries about this issue is because there's no radical damage that can be seen because social media doesn't cause death or health conditions like drugs or sex can. But the slow burn effects on your brain are nothing to overlook. Let's dive in and talk about these effects. The biggest physical change social media will do to your brain chemistry is depleting your dopamine reserves. They do this by using unique sounds like dings and vibrations from likes and notifications to trigger your dopamine receptor, also known as the reward receptor, one of the more well known neurotransmitters that plays a big role in your life by playing a key role in regulating mood, pleasure, motivation, and most important to our conversation, reward. Why this is such a problem for your brain is that your brain is set up for natural organic rewards in the physical world. When you sync your attention to a synthetic reward like social media, that's going to form a precedent for your brain to use, causing your other activities in your life that are more rewarding to your real life fruitless in getting those dopamine hits that only social media can induce. These hits can be extremely addicting and cause major detriment to your mental health, not only by making everything else in your life not as fulfilling chemically when compared to social media, but over time you won't even get the same feelings and dopamine hits that you used to. Generally, people will still continue to overconsume social media. The reason people do this is a desensitization that you will garner from frequent use of the media. It will lose its novelty and excitement. In turn, what once was exciting and new may now feel routine and minimally stimulating. These reasons will cause a major aspect to depression, which is a lack of dopamine and trouble getting the organic rewards from natural stimulus. A common saying that has been told for countless generations, alongside the advice to solely focus on your success and endeavors. Because, like the saying states, paying attention to others and relativity to you will only hamper your self image and cause you to feel lesser. Because unless you're Elon Musk or Brad Pitt, someone's always going to be more successful than you, and someone always going to have something that you feel you don't have. Now imagine this detriment to your life on a daily scale, constantly addicted to the feeling of your confidence being belittled by your own mind. This would seem like something that no one would want to take part in, but amazingly, over 2 billion active users are taking part in this. Now, not all social media users are using social media in a way that causes this, but a vast majority are. The way social media does this is by having a highlight reel effect on people, unlike how their real life is. On social media, they will only show the best aspects of their life, often showcasing their achievements, vacations, and happy moments. These would suggest that their life only consisted of these things, while their real life is often very mundane like you or me, but it's not so easy to feel that way in practice, causing your life to feel insignificant and meaningless in comparison. Another big reason people will feel that way in regards to comparison is that some of the biggest accounts on social media platforms that have the most active followers are often some of the richest and most successful people who live within the 1% of the population. They're also some of the biggest posters that you can find. But those accounts post a life that is simply not realistic and want to sell you on an idea. That idea is that their life simply is better than everyone else's. And even though you might not think you are capable of being manipulated by such things, a mass majority are and don't even understand and see the problem. Many people don't realize the reason they feel like their life is inadequate isn't from experiences they've had in real life majority of the time. It's usually from experiences that take place on electronic device within internet communities. Now, let's talk about what has to change or what needs to change. What is the location most people seek validation? Well, there are multiple forms. The most healthy ones are self validation. This is when individuals validate themselves by recognizing their own achievements, qualities, and self worth. Another form is real life social validation. People will often get validation from friends, peers, or family members. The positive feedback and support is used to boost self esteem. In Western society, this is not as prevalent as in other cultures, but another is professional validation, which comes from being in a work or academic setting. The validation can come from supervisors, colleagues, or teachers, acknowledging one's skill or achievements. Now I've discussed those. You would think a vast majority of Americans would thrive to achieve validation from those means, right? While this is only speculation because there is no way to garner the data and studies from something like this, I'm sure many will know from personal experience from friends, family, and even yourself. It would be no surprise that I believe many are finding validation from an easier, more toxic method, the method being online validation. Social media platforms and online communities provide a platform for seeking validation through likes, comments, and shares. When you substitute healthy forms of validation with a form that is predatory and preys on your needs for validation, that is an easy way to be weighed down by immense anxiety and depression. The only cure for this is to kill this habit of gathering validation from likes and followers, and instead find creative hobbies like playing sports or creating music. These help give you really good avenues to feel good about your passions through a craft slowly feeling accomplishment as you gain better skills. Another great way to get validation and satisfaction is through groups and clubs in the real world, usually with friends or people that share the same passions and interests with you. These methods will give you continuing validation that won't cause you to form a toxic habit and relationship with your phone. I hope you gathered a bigger insight on social media and how it is damaging us as individuals and us as a society. This is only the perspective of one man who has no scientific background or statistical background. So, like anyone else on YouTube, don't take my word as gospel. I suggest you to do extensive research on your own and figure out how using these apps affect you and your mental health and try to better yourself every day. Thanks for watching.